Hello and welcome to another episode of the Super Soul Model series. I'm your host, James Granstrom, and today I'm talking to my dear friend, Nik Haverkamp. Welcome, Nik.
Hi, welcome, James. Nice to be on the show.
Mate, thank you so much for turning up on this podcast. Nik is an old friend of mine, and we've been mucking around for many, many years, and I haven't seen Nik until he reached out and connected with me recently, and I thought Nik would be a wonderful person to have on the podcast show this week. And Nik is our expertise in Qigong. So Nik, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I really want to start asking some questions about, one of these sort of martial arts practices that you do and how it's helped you.
So I've been doing Qigong for about 25 years now. I have a martial arts background, so I did martial Qigong also. And then in the last 10 years, you know how it is. As you grow older, you notice, okay, there's maybe more discomforts in the body, right? Then health becomes more of an issue, right? You're not that young anymore. So then my focus moved over to medical Qigong. And and it's been a really interesting journey. Really,
So
really interesting.
how long have you been practicing Qigong for?
I started when I was 20. So
Okay.
this is so now I'm 44, 24 years ago. And I actually started learning it when I was in Spain. And so this was my Tai Chi teacher. He taught me standing like a tree. This is called James Granström. It's a form of Qigong, which is like a stationary Qigong. You don't move. So this is like a martial Qigong, but it's also a medical Qigong. It goes in both directions.
So Nik and I met each other, I don't know, 20 years ago, more? It's got to be more, hasn't it?
Yeah, more, yeah.
Well, we grew up in the same place in Surrey, in Cobham, and it's so funny because when we were sort of, I don't know, were we 20s or were we
Yeah,
teenagers? I
that
can't remember.
20, 22, around that,
Early
yeah.
20s, very early 20s, and I was just starting to explore some sort of areas of health, well-being, and spirituality, but it hadn't kind of kicked in yet. It kicked in for me a bit later, but Nik was already into doing his martial arts at that stage. And we'd go around and see one of his brothers, and there was Nik in the garden doing his martial arts. And here we are, 20 odd years later, and Nik's helping people teach them Qigong, as a medicine, really, isn't it? A medical practice. So Nik, where are you based at the moment?
I'm based north of Frankfurt in Germany. It's a small town called Bad Homburg, right? So it's like one of those cities which has a lot of health wells. People actually move here to drink the water, right? Really healthy water. It's a place where people come to recover, So that's
So it
actually
is a
where it is.
healing. You live in a healing spot on the planet,
Yeah,
basically.
basically, yeah. It's great. It has a big, famous park. A lot of hospitals are there, and and I have my practice there. So I actually have a TCM practice. I do acupuncture and medical qigong. So my patients, they get both. If they need both, they get both. And I just found teaching this medical qigong really helps the recovery rate, helps drive out negative emotions. And it's great. It really does support the healing process.
Are people coming to you with disease and then they're trying to find their recovery, or are they coming to just prevent themselves from having anything going forwards, or how does it sort of work with your practice?
Yeah, exactly. It's a good question. It actually goes both ways. So I have patients coming to me who've been through the medical system and they cannot find a cure. They're still suffering. They've gone through different, I don't know, chemotherapy or whatever. They're still suffering. They kind of get healthy, and then they, of course, look for alternative ways of getting healing.
What's the kind of success rate that you have with that then?
Yeah, it's quite a high success rate. People get healthy there and they feel better. If that's a thing, so I can teach them how to drive out negative emotions. So this is like coming from a Taoist perspective, which is our body has 12 organ spirits, and these organ spirits, they communicate with us through thoughts, right, through emotions, and through the way we speak and act. And doing certain exercises, we can learn to take out negative emotions like fear, depression, anger, hatred, revenge, guilt. I mean, there's so many emotions, and we can learn to take them out of our body. And then we learn to become less stressed, to let go of the stress. And that way, the lymphatic system can kick in, right? So a lot of my patients, they go to me like, Nick, what is Qigong? You know, what is that? Most of them don't know. They know acupuncture, but they don't know what Qigong is,
Yeah,
right?
we've heard a lot about acupuncture sort of in the West. You know, I've been to an acupuncture many, many times. And I've practiced Qigong, but for people who don't know what is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so Qigong. It's translated. It means skillful breath, right?
Skillful breath. Amazing.
Yeah, skillful breath. So we're using the breath, and but the thing is, what we're learning how to relax. So from an evolutionary point of view, when you are stressed, right, when you're in this fight or flight mode, then certain systems in your body shut down, right? And a lot of us are stressed without even knowing it. Okay, we have worries, we have tasks to complete, we're always, in some kind of stressful situation. Or we're doing exercise, which puts stress onto our body. So we're doing heavy weightlifting, we're doing martial arts, whatever. These are like kind of, I mean, you feel great afterwards, right? You letting adrenaline come out, but you're not, but you're in a state of stress while you're doing this. And with Qigong, you're doing rhythmic movements and deep breathing, okay? And this totally relaxes you. And then you come out of this fight or flight mode. And the systems that are shut down when you're stressed, this is your lymphatic system, right? It's a system that you need to push out the toxins from your organs, okay? And this system is only activated when you're relaxed. So that's why when you see adverts for Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, right, it always says underneath strengthens your immune system, right? It's always that. And that's the explanation really, is because your lymphatic system is getting back to flow. And with Qigong, you're doing deep breathing, rhythmic movements. And this just tells the body, hey, I'm relaxed. Okay, the blood can start flowing. I'm breathing a lot of oxygen, right? So everything's opening up inside. And then the lymphatic system starts to move, and then the healing process can start, right? You can build up more white blood cells. It's a very, very simple yet powerful tool to have.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's as I'm listening to you, I'm like, that sounds right on. That sounds right on point. I guess what I was thinking of is like when you have a patient who's not very well, um, how do you get them to practice qigong if they can't stand up or something like that? You know, if they're in a wheelchair or something like that. Is there a way you can practice it without standing?
Yes, of course, definitely. You can also practice sitting down. And I mean, I teach my patients who cannot stand, I teach them everything, the sitting form, right? So, for example, last week I did a webinar for the TCM community, for the TCM practitioners, how to teach their patients who are in wheelchairs to do Qigong sitting down,
What's TCM?
traditional Chinese medicine. Yes, so basically, I was approached by the TCM community to teach them some tools, right? Some tools, some Qigong practices that they can teach their patients over video, right? Because maybe some patients can't get into the practice, right? You have all this social distancing going on. So now more and more video tools are being used, right, to spread information, to share information. And so they asked me, can you share some Qigong practices that our patients can do to help them stay healthy, strengthen the immune system,
Okay.
right, or to improve their health. So then I taught them the 6 healing sounds, and yeah, and it's a Taoist alchemical practice. Okay, so before I was saying in Qigong traditionally you have different Qigong methods, right? One is Jam Zhong. This is where you just stand stationary for like, so I do this practice myself every evening. I stand still for about 1 hour, okay? And what this does is like your heart rate starts to speed up. The blood starts to go through your system faster. All
So
your
when you're
capillaries.
standing still, your heart rate speeds up.
Yeah, your heart rate speeds up because, I mean, because you're sitting down. You imagine you're sitting on a bar stool, right? So you bend your legs a bit, you lift your hands a little bit, and what the effect is that your breath becomes slower and deeper, but your heart rate speeds up. Okay, that's one form of Qigong for building up energy, for moving your lymphatic system from the inside out. And
Okay.
then the other form of Qigong, which I was teaching the TCM community and which most people practice because it's easier, is rhythmic movements and deep breathing. Okay, it's easier because you're moving. For a lot of people, it's difficult to stand still, right, or sit still for a prolonged
Mate,
time.
I've been meditating for, I don't know, 17 years daily, and sitting still, you know, even after 17 years of daily meditation, sometimes you can find it's very tricky because the mind's so active. So if you're standing in a certain way, that too requires a lot of discipline, mental discipline, as well as like you're going to feel the aches in the body as well. But you're saying that
Yeah.
that does something for the breath and for the heart. What
And
else?
for the whole system, because your whole vascular system starts to dilate, right? You have all these very small capillaries, and they start to dilate. Everything dilates. Everything, you can feel your hand, your whole body expanding. When you're standing for such a long time, your breath becomes deeper. You can feel, maybe if you have certain tensions in your body, they start to loosen up because, yeah, because you're breathing more, your capillaries are dilating, stuck energy, stagnant chi, so to speak, can start moving out, right? And that's when also, like, often after a certain amount of time, your mind starts to say like, hey, I need to do the washing, or hey, I need
Yeah.
to call my mate, and it's just your mind trying to get you away from the emotions coming up, right? Stuff that you have to face. And when you're starting to face this anxiety or this frustration coming up, it's then yeah, of course you want to run away from it. But the best thing is just you stay
To stay
standing
still.
still. Yeah, stay still or
I'm really
sitting still.
fascinated, Nick, because I've been doing this. I've been doing Qigong, Tai Chi. I've been to Qigong classes for about, I don't know, 6 months. When I was living in part of London, there was a Qigong master nearby, and he was teaching me like the standstill position. And then, of course, when we started hanging out, we were doing what you were teaching me, like the ball sort of
Yeah.
hold a big ball and stand still, a very awkward position, but it does work. And, my hands still feel very warm, these days. And so I noticed that it's kind of like you can turn on the electricity or the chi, as you so speak, like in the body, and so sort of turn it off from time. Well, I don't know if you naturally turn it off, but I noticed that when I give a massage to somebody, my hands start naturally heating up. Of course, there's friction, but then there's this intense heat that comes afterwards. And I
Yeah.
find that quite interesting. So I don't know how to sort of scientifically explain it. All I can just say is that practically and intuitively, that's kind of like what happens. What is that? And, how's the body doing that
Yeah, it's
effectively?
just your life force. It's the energy, your chi that's being activated, and of course there. So in medical qigong, you learn to use your chi to pass it on to other people to help heal them. Of course, you can also connect to the universal life force, right, where you take up the chi through the crown of your head, right, then channel it through your body. Um, and I mean, that's why it's so important when you're doing medical qigong or giving these massages or for a lot of practitioners, when they're doing some kind of manual healing, that these practitioners, they have to do meditation, they have to do qigong to replenish that energy, right?
So
So a
what
lot
what
of
so just sorry to interject, but I thought this is quite a big point. If I'm doing exercise, what's the difference between me going for a run and then or doing some cardiovascular exercise, or me doing a hit workout versus doing qigong? What is the difference? How's that sort of changing my energy? Because I know after a run I feel like I've really exerted my energy, and after I've had a shower I get this sort of wave of feel good and endorphins and serotonin and dopamines kicking in. What's the difference between that feeling and doing qigong?
Yeah, when you're running or doing some extreme exercises, of course, you are training your cardiovascular system, okay, and you're training some muscles in your body. With the difference with the Qigong is you're just relaxing, okay, and you're building up energy. So when you're running, you in a way kicking out energy, you're throwing out energy, you're not building up energy. Even if you're feeling well afterwards, it's not really that much of an energy buildup. And with Qigong, you can build it up, and you'll notice if you're doing this stationary or any Qigong, after a while, you'll notice how your whole body feels like it's been freshly oiled, so to speak, if you compare it to a car, maybe, you know. Cars are running very well, you add some oil, it runs better, or some petrol.
Okay.
So same with Qigong, right? You just feel like more spacious, more aware, more open. Everything is flowing more.
So let's say when you're doing a cardiovascular exercise, I'm trying to compare it just like so we have an understanding of like the energy, because the energy when you, like for instance, I went for a run the other night and it was like very hot where I am in Spain on quarantine, but it was late evening and it was still very warm. But after I came back, I noticed that my breathing is obviously, you know, quite rhythmic when I'm running. But why is that such a different experience to Qigong? Because running's more energizing, but Qigong's, even though it's still quite painful if you're or achy if you're standing there to begin with, if you're a beginner. I mean, I'm fascinated, but I'm also just wanting to know about the sort of energy, how that works for you. Is it good to run, and is it good to do Qigong? Or
Yeah,
can you mix them up? I mean, what is it? What is there one better than the other? I mean,
yeah, it's like if you just want to focus on health, really, right? Then of course I'll just say, okay, just do Qigong. But of course, running is also healthy, right? But not if you do it every single day, right? It's because you have a, from the TCM perspective, we are born with prenatal Qi, right, stored in our kidneys, and we are using this all the time, okay? And then we can replenish this somewhat with postnatal Qi in the form of food and drink, okay, and breathing, right? And but when you're doing some strenuous exercise, when you're running, your heart's beating faster, you are throwing Qi out. Or when you're doing martial arts, punching, whatever, you feel great afterwards, yeah, but you're throwing your Qi out. You're not gathering it. You're not storing it. You're not.
so when you're doing it, I love that, mate. I love that. It's a lovely way. So when you're exercising, you're expending life
Yeah,
force or Qi, but when you're doing Qigong, you're gathering it. You're filling up your cup. You're filling up the water. You're filling up
yeah,
your glass
exactly.
of
Yeah,
water of energy. Love
you,
it.
yeah. You fill up your postnatal Qi, so to speak, right? So
Okay.
the prenatal Qi we cannot fill up. We have a set amount, and that's being used up all the time.
I
So we
feel
also,
I
yeah.
feel like I could talk to you for hours about this. This is really interesting. Okay, so I kind of got that. So Qigong fills up our cup full of energy. That's really important. Okay, that makes sense to me. So how does that differ from meditation? Is it the same thing or is it different? What does it do for the body? Like people meditate, I meditate, but what does Qigong do differently from meditation, perhaps?
Yeah, well, it's a quite a complex question because there are so many different forms of meditation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you have meditation where you just try to clear the mind, okay? Or you can have meditations. So I do Taoist meditation, which is more like an alchemical form, mixing elements, right? Taking the most volatile elements of fire, water, spinning them against each other, or taking the sun and the moon, spinning them against each other, breaking up ancestral patterns, breaking up patterns acquired in this
So
lifetime.
that's basically a meditation that you do. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do this. Yeah, it's I do this standing while I'm doing qigong, or
Okay.
uh, I mean, there's different ways, you know. There's, I mean, and then there's meditation of just quieting the mind.
Yeah.
But it only goes that deep, if you see what I mean. It's
We'll do another deeper one if people are asking for it on another podcast.
yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so where do you do Qigong? Can you do it anywhere? Do you need to be like in a particular area to get the benefits? Where's the best place to do it?
The best place to do it, of course, is if you can outside. But for most people, that's not always possible. And then you can just do it in your room, a place where you feel safe, which is comfortable for you. maybe you can turn off the Wi-Fi, right, or the phone, because those are also
Interruption patterns or something?
yeah, kind of, yeah, it is. It's so like I usually try not to be too close to my Wi-Fi, you know.
Okay, lovely. That's a good idea. Okay. Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but all energy travels in waves, and as energy travels in waves, the more that you're gathering your life force, this is what I'm trying to pick up from you, and please interject and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to learn this or
Yeah.
relearn this, is that we want to cultivate this more energy, and electricity gets in the way from Wi-Fi's and stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or the maybe you could call it the radiation, or I don't
The
know,
radiation. Okay.
the frequencies interfering.
Frequencies.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you become more sensitive, you know, then you might notice it more.
So the more Qigong you do, you're going to feel more sensitive to any sort of frequencies.
Well, I mean, that depends. You can also build up the earth element, right, when you're doing Qigong. And that's actually the first thing that I teach all my patients, right? I teach them how to earth themselves, how to get out of the head, back into the body and connect with Mother Earth, right? I mean, it's just,
I'm all about that. I've just talked about that on my last podcast. You know, I'm spending a lot of time walking bare feet on the grass around the
yeah,
property at the moment.
perfect.
And
And that's the thing also, like, that's the thing. Maybe if you're not a person that does Qigong, you know, not everybody can do this or has the interest, then do something that you enjoy doing. Like if you enjoy cooking, then do that. Then you're relaxed, you know, or go for a walk, slow walk, relaxed walk. Do whatever you enjoy doing, be mindful, and then the energy starts flowing, you know. And then
okay.
it's just Qigong just kind of boosts it a little bit more, you know. It's
So what are the main benefits then of Qigong and what you teach and what in your practice?
yeah, main benefits are you can learn how to expel negative emotions, negative patterns that have stored themselves in the organs. Okay, so from the TCM point of view, for example, your kidney stores fear and anxiety, so you can learn to release that with a movement, with a sound. Okay, you can speed up your recovery rate through doing Qigong, through doing the healing sounds, or just doing the standing meditation or rhythmic movements, just really basic rhythmic movements. So I teach my patients often just one rhythmic movement that they just do for 10 minutes. And then often I get the feedback like, wow, Nick, oh, it's so great. They start laughing, feeling good, stop worrying. You know, and
Yeah.
it's just doing these slow rhythmic movements with deep breath, and maybe also using your intention, right? Your intention is so important, having intent and visualizing the color, you know, for earth is yellow, right? Taking up the earth elements, breathing out your worries. So there
Okay.
are many things to do.
So there's okay. So but what? So if that's expelling energy and you're gathering up energy, is there a benefit for like? So how does that sort of work for your heart health? Does that help your heart health and
Yes,
your overall well-being? Is that what Qigong does? Does it help your natural well-being and does it stop you getting sick? You know, what does it
yeah.
do?
It of course it strengthens your immune system. Okay, it's qigong helps you to become more in touch with your body, and so in Chinese medicine we have positive and negative energy. Okay, and negative energy is tension, right? Is stagnant qi, and is bad emotions, right? And these bad emotions, fear, anxiety, anger, these are just your organs communicating with you, okay? And we have to learn to listen to our organs and then kick that stuff out. So Qigong can help you to balance out your body, to get back into your body, connecting with the earth. And then, and when you are more relaxed, the energy can flow freer. Okay, so when we have pains and aches and later illnesses, it's just stagnant qi, energy that gets stuck, and then it can manifest in disease.
So basically, what you're saying is your exercises that you share is able to help move those emotions out of the body and replenish it with clean energy. Is that right?
Yeah, with your positive intentions. So, like for example, the lungs, there you store grief, sadness, depression. Okay, and then what you do, you breathe in the white energy, which is the color of the lungs, is metal from Chinese medicine, where you breathe in strength and courage, and you visualize how your whole body is filling up with this white Qi, and you feel the strength and courage, and then you exhale the sadness, the grief. You visualize how this dirty white energy is leaving your body. Okay,
Very
so
interesting, mate. I love it, and you're getting some great success with your clients. That's what you've been telling me prior to this, which has been incredible. So, how long does it take to work for things to start happening? You know, in the body, for you to be aware that okay, I've practiced Qigong, I've done this exercise, I've done my best to gather up some Qi or life force. How long does it take to work?
yeah, it's a good question, because it's like with anything you're learning in Qigong, you're learning a new system, maybe if you've never done it before, and it will take you, like, imagine, look, you want to learn the piano, or you want to learn meditation. It's hard work, it takes a long time. And Qigong is the same. Of course, when you do these rhythmic movements, then you can get into it. It's easier to get into a meditative state, and you can notice the benefits very fast. So like with my patients, the other week, I had a patient who had a lot of anxiety, and I showed her, okay, let's just do the lung sound, and then we start earthing. And within half an hour, she was like, "Oh wow, it feels so much better." You know, and
Well,
always,
I'd really love to share something that you could do with, you know, can you do a sit down something or other, sit down exercise for people watching the video that they
yeah, of
can
course.
do? Okay, so what do you recommend? If I'm sitting here, what sort of thing could you
So
teach?
yeah, you're sitting there, yeah, you can just put your hands down to your side, so they're hanging down loosely
Okay.
to the side. Yeah, and maybe you can imagine you have like a ball between your armpit, just so you kind of open up your armpit a little bit. Yeah, like this.
Shall I move my thing down a little bit? There we go.
Yeah, okay.
Like that,
So
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so a little bit. Yeah, so and you're totally relaxed. And now, so I will stand up. I'll just show you here. So you can make this kind of movement like this.
Okay,
So,
so like I'm wheeling a wheelchair.
yeah, exactly. Very good. Yeah, that's what you're doing. And you inhaling. So your feet are on the ground,
Yeah.
okay? Totally on the ground. And you're inhaling yellow energy, right? You
I'm wearing
inhale.
yellow.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're wearing yellow. There you
I'm wearing
go.
yellow today.
But you connect the movements of your arms with your breath. So you inhale, your arms come up to your side, and
Yeah.
then you exhale, your hands go down.
Okay.
In
What's this doing for my body then?
this, well, now you're also using your intention, right? Okay, I'm taking up earth energy up into my lower dantian, which is where your belly button is, right?
Yeah.
So where your belly button is, this is your lower energy center. You're breathing in the yellow earth energy, right? And then you're exhaling all your stress, whatever emotions, right?
Amazing.
Inhaling all this good energy and exhaling the negative into the earth. So you just want to take up the earth energy.
So am I thinking about things coming through from my feet? Am I just thinking about my
Yes.
hands moving around?
So
What am I supposed to be, where am I supposed to be thinking? Where's my guidance in my mind supposed to be going?
yeah, good question, because it's very good. It's
I keep
you,
going.
yeah, you can keep going, and you can imagine your feet are at the center of the earth. Your energy body extends down, right? So thoughts, your energy body can just extend all the way to the center of your earth. Your legs can be really big, like big tree trunks, right? And you just inhale this yellow chi going up all the way to your lower dantian, to where your belly button is, and you exhaling. So you're doing a exchange with the earth, right? And the earth, I mean, the planet Earth has birthed us, right? 6 billion species, or whatever. It's a it's full of life. And we're just taking up this energy up into our body, and then taking the rest down, just exchanging the energy, you know? And the earth element is to do with trust, right? So we want to build up trust in ourselves, in the surroundings, okay? And we
Love it.
can expel distrust.
I have to say my hands are really very warm right now.
Yeah. Mhm.
So uh, I wouldn't say that's always the case, but I noticed that I always call that chi in my hand
Yeah.
happens. And I what you'd always taught me, and when I watched Bruce Lee, he'd always put his hands over his navel and then rub it on the back of the kidneys as well, because that's where you can transmute any negative energy and keep pouring in good energy back into the kidneys and back into your center again, isn't it? I think that's what you taught me years ago. So I keep doing it, and I keep doing it. And I sometimes put my hands on my heart, often actually, and then on my solar plexus, dantian, and then rub my kidneys like crazy. And then once this hands, just stroke this energy. So this constantly keeps me feeling good. I mean, I'm always well. I mean, I feel blessed, but I know that there's something that I'm doing, and I know for sure that Qigong and meditation really do something. Although I can't necessarily always articulate what it's doing, I know it's doing something. So Nick, is it a substitute for anything, or would you say it's more of a preventative medicine? What would you say?
It's both in a way. If you're feeling healthy, right? If you're healthy, then doing Qigong will prevent you from getting sick. Okay. Or it will maybe if you still get sick, it can still help you to get healthy again. It's so it strengthens the immune system. It's and as you know yourself, I'd imagine doing a lot of meditation or you do a lot of Qigong, you will automatically start changing negative habits. Right? Maybe you will stop drinking alcohol, or maybe less alcohol. You notice, oh my God, I can't do this practice when I drink a beer. And I want to do this practice.
I haven't drunken like anything in since 2004. So I've just not wanted to. My meditation has sort of encouraged that. Nick, thank you so much. I've just got one last thing I want to ask you. So my dad is not walking very well at the moment. I've been out here in Spain, and I want to give him some sort of exercise that I could do to get him feeling greater energy, greater life force. Is it that sort of bubble thing, sitting down, that you recommend is the best thing to do? What do you?
So I mean, there's
something like that, and he's getting better and better. But if there's something or some exercise I could teach him that he could do, given his kind of like not being able to do too much in terms of movement and feeling a bit wobbly, what do you recommend would be the best thing I could share with him?
So when he's sitting, make sure that he has his feet are like this on the ground, so the heels of his feet on the ground, and maybe when his legs are a bit stronger, he can start lifting them, right? So and then just a few centimeters off the ground, and when he's tired, he puts the heels back on the ground, and then he can do this, breathing in this yellow energy, building up the earth, and also you could move up his hands right in front of his chest, right? So like this kind of, right? His hands are like here.
So is he going to sit like this in the chair? Is that what you recommend?
Yeah, but below the heart. So I don't know if he has high blood pressure or anything, so maybe below the heart.
Below the heart.
Yeah,
so
below the heart.
Just put his feet at a right angle, flat feet, and then just below the heart.
But below the heart, and you keep like a hand's width or a few centimeters, 5 centimeters space.
Like that?
Yeah, so it's like this kind of,
Okay. How long for?
And then you can like breathe in, open up.
Yeah.
Exhale, closing. And just doing this kind of exercise, you can do this for like 10 minutes with the breath, and then the intention, like love of life, breathing in love.
Okay. Amazing. You know what? I'm going to get him to try that. I mean, I don't know if he'll do 10 minutes, but if I get him to do 1 minute to start with, that would be great. And then I'll work it up, because I want to try some new things. And, I think my folks are very open, given that I'm here sort of caring for them at the moment, to some of my new ideas. And obviously my podcast guests have some fantastic new ideas. So, mate, I thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll have all the links and stuff so people can reach you and go to your videos and find out more about you and your techniques.
And I think now in these times, I want to share this so people they don't need to live in fear or in anxiety. They can live more in love, more in openness, more in trust. That's a very, very big plus.
Love it, mate. That's what I'm all about. Always trying to sort of share a message of love and share a message of upliftment, and for people who feel you know, sometimes they feel off their center. It's a lovely way to come back to your center. And this is a great practice, and you're a great teacher. Nik Haverkamp is our Qigong expert and our super soul model this week. Thank you so much, Nik. I so appreciate you being on the show. Yeah, and guys, just wanted to say, as always, thanks for tuning in, and I wish you green lights all the way.
If you like this episode and the show, please remember to subscribe.